What if I told you the most iconic star of the Wild West wasn't a cowboy at all? It was a golden horse, a horse born on the 4th of July, who rose from a quiet California stable to become Hollywood's brightest legend. This is the story of Trigger, the horse who didn't just share the screen with Roy Rogers, he stole it. If you think you know Western history, you're about to discover the legend you never saw coming. Trigger wasn't just beautiful, he was extraordinary. Born as Golden Cloud, he carried a glow that felt almost unreal, a calm intelligence, a presence that made handlers stop and stare. And when Roy Rogers first saw him, everything changed. Trigger didn't audition, he commanded the room. He moved like he understood the camera. He learned faster than any horse Hollywood had ever trained. He wasn't just a co-star, he was a phenomenon. A horse who could rear on cue, dance, bow, walk on his hind legs, and perform over 100 tricks with flawless precision. Trigger didn't follow fame, he created it. But behind the lights, behind the applause, behind the golden glow, was a bond deeper than Hollywood itself. Roy Rogers and Trigger weren't just partners, they were soul-linked. Every film, every parade, every moment of magic was built on trust, loyalty, and a connection that felt almost spiritual. Trigger wasn't just America's horse, he was the heartbeat of an era, a living symbol of courage, innocence, and the dream of the open West. And now, it's time to rediscover the legend who defined a generation. He was born on July the 4th, 1934, Independence Day. A date America celebrates freedom, and the day a legend quietly stepped into the world. Before he was Trigger, before he became Hollywood's most famous horse, he was simply Golden Cloud, a golden-coated colt born under the California sun in San Diego. No crowds, no cameras, no hint that this newborn foal would one day redefine what a movie horse could be. But destiny has a way of hiding greatness in plain sight. From the moment Golden Cloud stood on his long, elegant legs, there was something different about him. A glow, a presence, a calm intelligence in his eyes that made handlers pause. He wasn't just beautiful, he was aware. He watched people, he listened, he learned. And Hollywood was waiting for a horse exactly like him. Years later, when a young Roy Rogers walked into a stable searching for a co-star, Golden Cloud didn't just catch his eye, he captured his imagination. Rogers saw something no one else had seen yet. A spark, a charisma, a natural performer hiding beneath that shimmering Palomino coat. In that moment, Golden Cloud became Trigger, a name that matched his quickness, his sharp mind, and the lightning-fast bond he formed with Rogers. He wasn't just born, he was sent to become the greatest equine star Hollywood would ever know. And this is where his legend begins. Before the world knew his name, before the posters, the movies, the fame, Golden Cloud was just another young Palomino learning the rhythm of life. But destiny was already moving toward him, quietly, deliberately, preparing to collide with his future. Hollywood was searching. Studios needed a horse who wasn't just trained, but magnetic. A horse who could stand beside a rising cowboy actor named Roy Rogers and not disappear in his shadow. A horse with presence, intelligence, soul. And then, Golden Cloud walked into the audition ring. He didn't rear. He didn't panic. He didn't show off. He simply stood there, tall, calm, glowing like a living beam of sunlight. And when he moved, It wasn't the clumsy trot of a young horse. It was smooth, elegant, almost cinematic. Every step looked like it belonged on film. Roy Rogers watched him with widening eyes. He didn't see a horse. He saw a partner, a co-star, a legend waiting to be named. In that moment, Golden Cloud wasn't chosen. He claimed his place. Rogers walked up, placed a hand on the colt's neck, and felt something electric. A connection, a spark, a certainty. This wasn't just the right horse, this was the horse. And with that realization, Golden Cloud's life changed forever. He would no longer be a nameless colt. He would become Trigger, the fastest, smartest, most iconic horse Hollywood would ever know. Golden Cloud had been chosen, but he wasn't a star yet. Not until Roy Rogers gave him the name that would echo across Hollywood for generations. Trigger. A name that didn't just describe his speed, it captured his spirit. Quick, sharp, precise. A horse who reacted faster than thought, faster than instinct, faster than the cameras that tried to keep up with him. From the moment the name settled on him, something shifted. Trigger didn't just move, he performed. He carried himself like he understood the weight of the spotlight that was coming. His golden coat shimmered like polished fire. His eyes held a calm intelligence that made directors whisper, "This horse knows exactly what he's doing." Training began immediately. But Trigger wasn't trained the way other horses were. He learned faster. He remembered everything. He anticipated commands before they were given. Roy Rogers didn't just find a co-star, he found a partner who could read him like a book. Their bond grew with every ride, every rehearsal, every silent moment where man and horse moved as one. Trigger learned to rear on cue, to pose for cameras, to hit marks like a seasoned actor, to perform tricks most horses couldn't dream of. Hollywood had never seen anything like him. He wasn't just becoming a movie horse, he was becoming a phenomenon, a golden icon in the making. And soon, the world would meet the horse who could steal a scene without saying a single word. Trigger's transformation from Golden Cloud to Hollywood's brightest star didn't happen in silence. It happened the moment he stepped onto a film set for the very first time. The movie was Under Western Stars. Roy Rogers was still a rising cowboy actor. And Trigger? He was the unknown Palomino who walked onto the set like he owned it. From the second the cameras rolled, something extraordinary happened. Trigger didn't just hit his marks, he commanded them. He didn't just move, he performed. Every turn of his head, every lift of his hoof, every gleam of his golden coat caught the light like he was born for the lens. Directors stared, crew members whispered, even seasoned stunt riders paused to watch. This wasn't normal. This wasn't training. This was instinct, pure, natural star power. Roy Rogers felt it instantly. He wasn't sharing the screen with a horse. He was sharing it with a co-star who could steal the scene without a single word. Trigger's calmness under pressure, his intelligence, his ability to read Roy's body language, it all fused into something Hollywood had never seen before. He wasn't just a prop. He wasn't just transportation. He was a character, a hero, a presence, a legend in the making. And when the film released, audiences didn't just fall in love with Roy Rogers, they fell in love with the golden horse beside him. Trigger had arrived, and Hollywood would never be the same again. Trigger wasn't just a horse anymore, he was a phenomenon, and America was about to fall in love with him. After Under Western Star, something extraordinary happened. Audiences didn't just cheer for Roy Rogers, they cheered for the golden horse beside him. Trigger wasn't background decoration. He wasn't a prop. He was a co-hero, a scene stealer, a living symbol of loyalty and courage. Hollywood noticed, studios noticed, and Roy Rogers, he understood exactly what he had. Together, they became the most iconic cowboy and horse duo the screen had ever seen. Trigger wasn't just following Roy, he was matching him, step for step, emotion for emotion, presence for presence. In every film, Trigger delivered moments that audiences couldn't forget. The dramatic rears, the lightning-fast stops, the gentle nuzzles that melted hearts, the heroic charges that made theaters erupt. He performed with a precision most human actors couldn't match. Directors began writing scenes around him. Fans wrote letters addressed not to Roy, but to Trigger. Children begged their parents for Palomino toys. Magazines called him the smartest horse in the movies. And through it all, Roy Rogers and Trigger built a bond deeper than partnership, a bond built on trust, instinct, and a shared destiny. They weren't just making movies, they were shaping American mythology. Trigger wasn't just a star now, he was the golden heartbeat of a new Hollywood era. Trigger wasn't just famous, he was unbelievable. Hollywood had seen trained horses before, but none like him. None with his intelligence, none with his precision, none with his almost human understanding of performance. By the early 1940s, Trigger had become the horse directors whispered about, the horse actors admired, the horse audiences adored. But behind the scenes, something even more extraordinary was happening. Trigger was learning everything. He mastered over 100 tricks, not through force, but through trust. He could rear on command, bow to fans, walk on his hind legs, untie ropes, open gates, even sign autographs by holding a pen in his mouth. His timing was flawless. His instincts were razor sharp. He didn't just follow cues, he anticipated them. Roy Rogers didn't treat him like livestock. He treated him like a partner, a friend, a co-star with equal billing in the hearts of millions. And Trigger responded with loyalty that felt almost mythical. On set, he hit marks better than human actors. In public, he behaved with the grace of a seasoned performer. Children saw him as a hero. Adults saw him as a marvel. Hollywood saw him as a miracle. He wasn't just the smartest horse in the movies. He was the golden soul of an entire era, the living heartbeat of the American West. Trigger wasn't acting. He was becoming a legend. By the mid-1940s, Trigger wasn't just a Hollywood star. He was a national obsession. America had never seen anything like him. A horse who didn't just appear in movies, he elevated them. A horse who didn't just perform tricks, he performed with heart, intelligence, and a charisma that felt almost human. Trigger became the golden symbol of everything Americans loved: loyalty, courage, innocence, and the dream of the open West. When he galloped across the screen, audiences didn't just watch, they felt something. Hope, freedom, joy, a reminder of a simpler world where heroes were pure and the good guys always won. Children wrote letters begging to meet him. Families traveled miles just to see him at live shows. Newspapers called him the horse with the human mind, and everywhere Roy Rogers went, Trigger went too. Not behind him, but beside him. Their partnership became the beating heart of American entertainment. Roy was the king of the Cowboys, but Trigger was the golden king of the American imagination. He appeared in parades, fairs, radio shows, charity events, always calm, always graceful, always dazzling. He posed for photos like he understood fame. He performed tricks with the precision of a seasoned entertainer. He carried himself like he knew he was loved. Trigger wasn't just a movie horse anymore. He was a national icon, a living legend whose golden glow touched millions. And his story was only getting bigger. By the late 1940s, Trigger wasn't just a star. He was Roy Rogers' shadow, his heartbeat, his closest companion. Hollywood partnerships come and go, but what Roy and Trigger shared was something deeper, something rare, something almost spiritual. On screen, they were unstoppable. Off screen, they were inseparable. Trigger traveled everywhere with Roy. Movie sets, radio shows, parades, charity events, even personal appearances. When Roy walked into a room, people cheered. But when Trigger walked in beside him, the room lit up. Children ran forward. Adults smiled. Cameras flashed. Trigger wasn't just a horse, he was joy in motion. But the real magic wasn't in the tricks or the fame. It was in the trust. Roy could ride Trigger through explosions, gunfire, chaotic crowds, and Trigger never flinched. He trusted Roy completely, and Roy trusted him back. Their communication was silent, effortless, almost telepathic. A shift of weight, a touch of the reins, a soft word. That was all it took. Trigger wasn't performing for applause. He was performing for Roy. And Roy knew it. Behind the scenes, he brushed Trigger himself, fed him treats, talked to him like a friend, spent quiet moments with him when the cameras were gone. Their bond wasn't built on training. It was built on love, loyalty, and years of shared adventures. Trigger wasn't just Roy Rogers' horse. He was his partner, his confidant, his golden-hearted companion. And together, they became a legend no Hollywood script could ever recreate. By the 1950s, Trigger wasn't just a star. He was America's horse, a golden icon whose very silhouette could make crowds erupt. A performer so beloved that his name alone could fill theaters, pack stadiums, and stop parades in their tracks. This was Trigger's golden era, the peak of a career no horse had ever achieved before, and none have matched since. He appeared in over 80 films, countless TV episodes, and live shows that drew thousands. When Trigger stepped onto a stage, the energy shifted. Children screamed his name. Adults stood in awe. Cameras flashed like fireworks. And Trigger? He handled it all with the calm grace of a seasoned superstar. He danced. He bowed. He reared on command. He walked on his hind legs with the balance of an acrobat. He performed tricks so complex they seemed impossible for any animal. Yet Trigger made them look effortless. But what truly set him apart wasn't the tricks. It was the connection. Trigger didn't just entertain. He touched people. His golden coat, his gentle eyes, his almost human awareness. He radiated warmth. Families felt like they knew him. Children believed he was magic. And in a way, he was. Roy Rogers often said, "Trigger is the greatest horse that ever lived." And during this era, America agreed. Trigger wasn't just famous, he was timeless. A living legend at the height of his power. Every legend reaches a sunset, even the brightest ones. By the early 1960s, Trigger was no longer the young, fiery Palomino who dazzled Hollywood. His steps were slower now. His golden coat, once blazing like sunlight, had softened with age, but his spirit, that unmistakable spark, never dimmed. Roy Rogers felt it every time he brushed him, every time he looked into those gentle, intelligent eyes. They had shared decades together, films, tours, Parades, laughter, danger, triumph. Trigger wasn't just a partner, he was family, a piece of Roy's soul. And then on July the 3rd, 1965, one day before his 31st birthday, Trigger took his final breath. Roy didn't lose a horse that day. He lost a friend, a companion, a legend who had carried him, literally and emotionally, through the greatest years of his life. But Trigger's story didn't end there. Roy made a decision that shocked some, but touched millions. He preserved Trigger's body, not out of vanity, but out of love, so future generations could see the horse who shaped American culture, the horse who brought joy to millions, the horse who became the symbol of loyalty, courage, and the golden heart of the West. Today, Trigger isn't just remembered. He's felt. In every cowboy story, in every child's dream of adventure, in every memory of Hollywood's golden age. Trigger didn't just live a legendary life, he left a legacy that will never fade. In the end, Trigger wasn't just a horse. He was a miracle wrapped in gold, a symbol of loyalty, courage, and the purest bond Hollywood ever witnessed. He carried Roy Rogers through danger, through fame, through decades of American history, and he carried millions of hearts with him. Legends aren't measured by trophies or titles. They're measured by the lives they touch. And Trigger touched an entire nation. His story doesn't fade with time. It echoes, it shines, it rides on. Because some stars don't burn out, they become eternal.